The atmosphere in the Beverly Hills courtroom was thick with anticipation as the jury prepared to deliver its verdict. After weeks of testimony, media frenzy, and emotional turmoil, Cardi B sat at the defendant's table, her heart racing. She had been accused by a security guard, Mia, of assaulting her while pregnant with her daughter, Culture. In 2018, the case had turned into a spectacle, but for Cardi, it was deeply personal. On that day in 2018, Cardi had been excited yet anxious, feeling the weight of her first pregnancy. She had gone to a doctor's appointment, hoping to keep her news a secret a little while longer. The last thing she expected was to be hounded by cameras. When Mia began recording her without permission, Cardi felt a surge of panic. "I didn't want my pregnancy to be public knowledge," she would later explain during her testimony. "I was scared and vulnerable." The trial had been an emotional roller coaster. Cardi's legal team had worked tirelessly to dismantle Mia's accusations, portraying the incident as a misunderstanding. Cardi had never laid a finger on Mia. The confrontation had been strictly verbal, yet the media portrayed her as a volatile celebrity, eager for drama. As the jury filed into the room, Cardi's hands trembled slightly. She exchanged a glance with her attorney, who nodded reassuringly. The tension in the courtroom was palpable, and Cardi could feel the eyes of the world upon her. This was more than just a legal battle, it was a fight for her truth. "Will the defendant please rise?" The judge's voice cut through the silence. Cardi stood, her heart pounding in her chest. The foreman of the jury cleared his throat, and the courtroom held its breath. "On the charge of assault and battery against the plaintiff, we find the defendant not guilty." A wave of relief washed over Cardi. It felt as if the room had exhaled collectively. She looked at her attorney, who broke into a wide smile, and then turned to her family, who were sitting in the back, their faces glowing with pride. Tears of joy filled her eyes as she realized the truth had prevailed. "Thank you, Cardi exclaimed, her voice tinged with emotion. "This has never just been about me. It's about standing up for what's right and for every woman who feels like their voice doesn't matter. I'm so grateful for the jury's decision." The judge called for order as the courtroom erupted in murmurs. Cardi felt the rush of adrenaline as she soaked in the moment. She had faced a storm of accusations, but she had emerged victorious. This was a moment of vindication, not just for herself but for every woman who had ever felt silenced. Once outside the courthouse, a swarm of reporters and fans awaited her. Cameras flashed, and microphones were thrust toward her. "Cardi, how do you feel about the verdict?" One reporter shouted, "I feel free," she replied, a triumphant smile spreading across her face. "This is a victory for all of us who had to fight to be heard. I hope this shows that you can stand your ground, no matter what." As the crowd cheered, Cardi felt a renewed sense of purpose. She had weathered the storm, and now she was ready to embrace her future. The media had speculated about her downfall, but she had proven that she was resilient. With her head held high, she walked toward her waiting car, surrounded by her family and friends. The journey to this moment had not been easy. Cardi reflected on the past few years of the struggles, the triumphs, and the relentless scrutiny that came with fame. She had always been outspoken, unafraid to share her truth, but this trial had pushed her to her limits. It had been a stark reminder of how easily a narrative could be twisted, how one misstep could lead to a public outcry. In the days following the verdict, Cardi took time to reflect. She spent quiet moments with Culture, cherishing the joy of motherhood. The trial had made her realize the importance of protecting her family and her privacy. She vowed to use her platform to advocate for women's rights, to speak out against injustice, and to support those who felt voiceless. As she prepared for her next public appearance, Cardi wanted to channel her experience into something positive. She began working on a new initiative focusing on women's empowerment, particularly for those who had faced harassment or assault. She wanted to create a safe space where women could share their stories without fear of judgment. The launch of her initiative was met with enthusiasm. Cardi hosted a gathering in Los Angeles, inviting women from various walks of life to share their experiences. The event was emotional, filled with stories of resilience and strength. Cardi spoke passionately about her own journey, emphasizing the importance of standing up for oneself. "I've been through hell and back, but I've learned that our voices matter," she said, her voice echoing in the auditorium. "We deserve to be heard, to be believed, and to be empowered." The audience erupted in applause, and Cardi felt a sense of fulfillment. She knew that her journey was far from over, but she was ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. The trial had been a crucible, but it had forged something beautiful, a commitment to advocate for others and to inspire change. As the months passed, Cardi's initiative gained momentum. She collaborated with organizations focused on women's rights, using her influence to amplify their messages. Her platform became a beacon of hope for those who felt marginalized, and she took pride in being a part of a larger movement. Looking back on the trial, Cardi realized it had transformed her. She was no longer just rapper or a celebrity, she had become a voice for change. The verdict had not only cleared her name but had also ignited a fire within her to fight for justice and equality. In the end, Cardi B emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. She had faced adversity head-on and had come out victorious. As she stood on the stage, addressing a crowd of supporters, she knew that her journey was just beginning. The world was listening, and she was ready to make a difference. Thank you for watching till the end. Please like and subscribe for more.